The Untold Story of Julius Caesar. English listening practice. Some names in history are never forgotten, and one of them is Julius Caesar. He lived more than 2,000 years ago, but people still talk about him today. Why? Because he changed the world. He was not just a soldier. He was not just a leader. He was a man who changed the future of Rome and the future of the world. Julius Caesar was strong, smart, and brave. He helped make Rome bigger and more powerful. He won many wars. He made new laws. He gave land and food to poor people. He even changed the calendar. Yes, the calendar we use today is based on the one Caesar made. July is named after him. But Caesar's life was not always full of power and success. He had many enemies. Some people loved him, some people feared him, and some people wanted him gone. His story is full of battles, big ideas, and even betrayal. It is a story of dreams, danger, and death. In this video, you will learn the amazing story of Julius Caesar. We will take you step by step through his life. You will learn how he rose from a simple family to become one of the most powerful men in history. You will see how he used words, war, and wisdom to win people's hearts. You will also see the dark side of his story, how power can bring both glory and danger. This story is not just about history. It is about power, trust, and what it means to lead. You will learn new English words. You will hear simple, clear sentences. You will listen and read at the same time. This will help you understand better and improve your English. You will not just learn about Caesar, you will grow your English skills too. So, who was Julius Caesar? He was born in Rome in the year 100 BC. At that time, Rome was a strong republic. A republic means the people choose their leaders. But Caesar had bigger dreams. He did not want to be just another leader. He wanted more. Much more. Julius Caesar's childhood and youth. Julius Caesar was born a long time ago, more than 2,000 years ago, in the year 100 BC. He was born in the city of Rome. Rome was already a big and important place at that time. It was the center of a great republic. People in Rome spoke Latin, wore togas, and lived in houses made of stone. Many people lived in Rome, but not everyone had power. Only some families were rich and important. Caesar was born into one of those old, important families. His full name was Gaius Julius Caesar. The name Julius came from his family, the Julii, who said they were descendants of the goddess Venus. This made Caesar feel special. His family was not very rich, but they had a great name. They were what people called patricians, the upper class of Rome. Because of this, many people knew who Caesar was, even when he was a child. Caesar's father was also named Gaius Julius Caesar. He worked as a Roman official and had a good job in the government. His mother was Aurelia, a strong and wise woman. Many people said she was one of the best mothers in Roman history. She took care of Caesar and taught him many important things. Caesar loved his mother very much, and she was always close to him, even when he grew older. From a young age, Caesar was smart and curious. He liked to read and learn new things. In those times, only boys from rich or noble families went to school. Caesar learned Latin and Greek. He read books about history, war, and famous people. He learned how to speak well, how to write, and how to argue. These skills were very important in Rome. In the future, Caesar would use them to become a great leader. He also learned how to be strong. Roman boys trained their bodies as well as their minds. Caesar did sports, ran, and learned how to use weapons. He learned how to ride horses and how to march like a soldier. In Rome, being a good speaker was important, but so was being brave and strong. But Caesar's young life was not easy. When he was about 15 years old, his father died suddenly. This was a big change for him. As the only son, Caesar became the head of the family. He was still very young, but now he had to take care of his mother and two sisters. He had to be strong and wise, even though he was just a teenager. Soon after, things became even harder. A man named Lucius Cornelius Sulla became the most powerful man in Rome. He was a dictator. That means he had full control of the government. Sulla did not like Caesar's family. Caesar had married a young woman named Cornelia, the daughter of one of Sulla's enemies. Sulla told Caesar to leave her and break the marriage, but Caesar said no. This was a very brave thing to do. Many people were afraid of Sulla. Saying no to him was dangerous. Sulla became angry and tried to kill Caesar. Caesar had to run away. He left Rome and hid in the countryside. He moved from place to stay safe. He got sick and poor. He had to wear simple clothes and sleep in cold places. At one point, he even got caught by soldiers. They almost killed him, but he escaped. Caesar's life was hard during this time, but he did not give up. He was young, but he was strong. He believed he had a great future. After some time, Sulla allowed Caesar to return to Rome, but Caesar had learned a big lesson. Power was dangerous, and he had to be smart if he wanted to survive. After coming back to Rome, Caesar wanted to learn more. He decided to travel and study in the East. He went to the island of Rhodes, where he met a famous teacher named Apollonius Molon. This man taught Caesar how to speak in public and how to use words to win people's hearts. Caesar practiced every day. He learned how to speak loudly, clearly, and with feeling. This helped him a lot in his later life. But something strange happened on the way to Rhodes. Pirates caught Caesar's ship and took him as a prisoner. These were sea robbers. They wanted money. They asked for 20 talents of silver for his freedom. But Caesar laughed and said, "I am worth more than that. Ask for 50. The pirates were surprised, but they listened. While he was a prisoner, Caesar was not afraid. He joked with the pirates. He told them that one day he would catch them and punish them. They laughed, but Caesar meant every word. After his friends paid the money, Caesar was free. But he didn't forget his promise. He found the pirates, captured them, and had them punished. This story shows us something important. Caesar was not just smart. He was also bold. He always kept his word. After this adventure, Caesar returned to Rome. He was still young, but he had already learned so much. He had faced danger, made hard choices, and seen the dark side of power. Now, he was ready to begin his public life. He started by working as a lawyer in the Roman courts. He spoke for poor people and helped them fight against rich and powerful men. He became known for his clear, powerful voice and his strong ideas. People started to notice him. They liked his style and his courage. Some thought he was too bold. Others thought he was special. Soon, Caesar became a military officer. He joined the army and went to different parts of the Roman world. He fought in wars, showed bravery, and became a strong leader. The army life made him tougher. It also helped him meet more people and learn how soldiers think and feel. These lessons would help him later when he became a great general. Step by step, Caesar was rising. He made friends with other powerful men. He joined Roman politics. He spoke to crowds and gave gifts to the poor. He helped people, and they helped him in return. He knew how to win hearts and how to plan for the future. By the time he was in his early 30s, Julius Caesar was no longer just a young boy from an old family. He was a rising star in Rome. People began to talk about him. Some loved him, Some feared him, but no one could ignore him. The boy, who had once run from danger, was now walking into the center of Roman power. His journey was only beginning, and the world had no idea what he would become. Julius Caesar was not only a smart leader, he was also a great general. His time in the army helped him learn how to lead soldiers and win battles. But the biggest part of his military life began when he went to a place called Gaul. Gaul is now called France, but at that time it was full of different tribes. These tribes were brave and wild. They did not want Roman control. Caesar was sent there to make Rome stronger, and he did much more than that. Caesar's wars in Gaul lasted for 8 years, from 58 BC to 50 BC. These wars were long, hard, and full of action, but they made Caesar rich, famous, and very powerful. They also changed the history of Europe. What was Gaul? Gaul was a large area in Western Europe. It had rivers, forests, and mountains. Many different tribes lived there. Each tribe had its own leader, laws, and warriors. They spoke different languages and often fought each other. Rome wanted to control Gaul because it had land, gold, and strong soldiers. At first, Caesar was governor of Cisalpine Gaul, northern Italy, and Transalpine Gaul, southern France. But he wanted more. He saw Gaul as a chance to prove his power, and he knew that winning wars would make him a hero in Rome. The war begins, 58 BC. The war began when a large tribe called the Helvetii tried to move across Roman land. They wanted to find a better place to live. But Caesar said no. He led his army and stopped them at the Battle of Bibracte. It was a big win for Caesar. He sent the tribe back and told Rome that he was protecting the Republic. This was just the beginning. After that, more tribes in Gaul became angry. Some were afraid of Rome. Some hated Caesar. They began to fight back. The Belgae and the Nervi. In 57 BC, Caesar fought the Belgae, a group of strong tribes in the north of Gaul. These people were great fighters. One of the hardest battles was against the Nervi, a brave and powerful tribe. The Nervi almost beat Caesar's army. Many Roman soldiers were killed, and Caesar himself had to fight with a sword. But in the end, Caesar won. He told stories about the battle to show how brave and smart he was. Back in Rome, people began to admire him even more. The crossing of the Rhine, 55 BC. Caesar wanted to show that no place was safe from Rome. So, in 55 BC, he did something very bold. He crossed the Rhine River into Germania, the land of the Germanic tribes. No Roman general had done this before. He built a wooden bridge in just 10 days. He marched his soldiers across the river, showed his power, and then returned. This was not a long war, but it sent a clear message. Caesar and his army could go anywhere. The first trip to Britain, 55 BC. That same year, Caesar did something even more daring. He took his army across the sea to Britain. No Roman army had ever been there. The sea was rough, and the weather was bad. But Caesar reached the shores of Britain and fought with local tribes. The battles were small, and Caesar did not stay long. But again, he showed that Rome could go where no one else had gone. In 54 BC, Caesar returned to Britain again. He fought more battles and made deals with British kings. He did not conquer Britain, but he made the Romans curious about this new land. Many years later, Rome would return and take full control. The Great Revolt, Vercingetorix rises, 52 BC. Caesar won many battles in Gaul, but not all the tribes gave up. In 52 BC, a young and powerful Gallic leader named Vercingetorix led a great revolt. He united many tribes to fight against Caesar. This was the biggest challenge Caesar had faced in Gaul. Vercingetorix was clever. He used guerrilla tactics, small, fast attacks. He burned his own villages, so Caesar's army could not use their food. Caesar had to work hard to feed his soldiers and keep them safe. The two leaders finally met in a big battle at a place called Alesia. Vercingetorix and his men stayed inside a strong hill fort. Caesar did something amazing. He built a wall around the whole fort to trap them. Then he built another wall outside to stop other Gallic armies from helping. This battle was long and hard. The Gauls tried to break out. Other tribes came to help them, but Caesar's walls held strong. After many days, Vercingetorix gave up. He rode out on a horse and gave his sword to Caesar. This moment became one of the most famous scenes in Roman history. What did Caesar win? After the Battle of Alesia, the war was almost over. Some small fights continued, but most of Gaul was under Roman control. Caesar had done what no other Roman had done. He conquered a huge land, defeated strong enemies, and brought great treasure to Rome. He also wrote about his battles in a book called Commentaries on the Gallic War. He used simple words so many Romans could read it. In this book, Caesar made himself look brave, smart, and fair. Many Romans believed him and saw him as a hero. But Caesar also became very powerful. His army was loyal to him, not just to Rome. His soldiers loved him because he shared food with them, fought beside them, and gave them gold. They would follow him anywhere. This made some people in Rome nervous. They thought Caesar wanted too much power. Caesar's return to Rome. After 8 years of war, Caesar returned to Rome. He was rich, famous, and loved by many. But his power was a problem. Rome was not ready for one man to be so strong. Some leaders, like Pompey and the Senate, did not trust him. They told Caesar to give up his army before coming back. But Caesar said no. He made a big choice. In 49 BC, he crossed a small river called the Rubicon with his army. This river marked the border of Rome. No general was allowed to cross it with soldiers, but Caesar crossed it anyway. This started a civil war in Rome. Caesar's military success in Gaul had made him too powerful to control. The boy who once ran from danger was now the most dangerous man in Rome. Why was the war in Gaul so important? Caesar's war in Gaul was not just about land. It was about power. It showed that Caesar was a brilliant general. He used smart plans, fast attacks, and strong leadership. He beat enemies that others feared. He made his army trust him, and he made Rome richer. But it also changed the Roman Republic. After this war, the old way of government would not be enough. Caesar had too much control. Some people loved him, others feared him. But no one could stop him now. The wars in Gaul made Caesar great, but they also opened the door to a bigger fight, one that would change Rome forever. After his early years and time in the army, Julius Caesar wanted more than just adventure. He wanted power in Rome. But getting power in Roman politics was not easy. Rome had many rich and powerful men. They didn't like to share power. Still, Caesar was clever. He knew how to speak to the people, how to make friends, and how to win support. Step by step, Caesar climbed to the top. Let's see how Caesar became one of the most powerful men in Roman history. A young politician with big dreams. After working as a lawyer and gaining fame for his speeches, Caesar started his political career. He ran for jobs in the Roman government. At that time, Rome had many offices like quaestor, aedile, praetor, and consul. Caesar wanted to rise through these ranks, and he did it with skill. His first important job was as a quaestor, a type of financial officer. He helped manage money in one of Rome's provinces. Later, he became an aedile. This job gave him more chances to become popular. As aedile, Caesar organized games, festivals, and public shows. He spent a lot of money, sometimes his own, sometimes borrowed, but the people loved him for it. He gave them food, fun, and excitement. The poor citizens, especially, began to see him as a friend. The road to high office Caesar continued moving up. He became Pontifex Maximus, the chief priest of Rome, at a young age. This was a powerful religious role. It also gave him more respect and attention. Next, he became a praetor, a kind of judge. Then, in 61 BC, he became the governor of Hispania, modern-day Spain. In Hispania, Caesar led soldiers and collected money. He also won small battles and brought gold back to Rome. This helped him pay off debts, and it showed that he was a strong leader. After returning from Hispania, Caesar wanted the highest job in the Roman Republic, consul. The consul was like the president of Rome. 2 consuls were elected each year. But getting elected was not easy. Caesar needed help. The first triumvirate. At this point, Caesar made a smart move. He joined with 2 of the most powerful men in Rome, Pompey the Great, a top general who had won many wars and was loved by soldiers, Crassus, the richest man in Rome, who had great influence and money. These 3 men made a secret deal. This deal is called the First Triumvirate. It means rule of 3. Each man helped the others. Pompey gave Caesar military support. Crassus gave him money. Caesar, in return, helped them pass laws and gain power. With their support, Caesar was elected consul in 59 BC. Now he was one of the 2 top men in Rome. Caesar as consul, 59 BC. As consul, Caesar didn't just sit in office. He worked hard to pass laws that helped the people. He gave land to poor soldiers. He gave free grain to the poor. He even made some rich senators angry by pushing new laws through quickly. He spoke to the people directly, sometimes from balconies or in big public meetings. He knew the people were his power. The Senate, the group of rich and noble men in Rome, was divided. Some senators supported Caesar. Others hated him. They said he was too bold, too fast, and too dangerous. But Caesar didn't stop. He knew that the people liked him more than the Senate did. To make his bond with Pompey stronger, Caesar gave his daughter Julia to Pompey in marriage. This was not strange in Roman politics. Marriages were often used to build alliances. Julia and Pompey loved each other, which helped keep peace between the 2 men, for a while. Becoming governor of Gaul. When his year as consul ended, Caesar made another smart move. He asked to become governor of Gaul, modern France and Belgium. The Senate agreed, not knowing what Caesar was planning. He would stay there for 5 years, leading armies and gaining more power. Later, his time was extended to 9 years. During his time in Gaul, Caesar became a war hero. He wrote letters back to Rome, telling stories of battles and victories. These letters were read in the Forum and copied around the city. People loved hearing how Caesar was conquering new lands and defeating enemies. His fame grew fast. Support from the people Caesar always knew how to win the hearts of the people. He gave speeches in simple language. He shared his money. He built temples and fixed roads. He promised change and a better future. He also had a secret weapon, his army. The soldiers loved Caesar. He marched with them, ate with them, and paid them well. He never asked them to do something he wouldn't do himself. In return, they followed him with loyalty. This would become important later. Caesar's enemies. Not everyone loved Caesar. Many senators feared him. They saw him as a threat to the old Roman Republic. These men called themselves Optimates, the group that wanted to keep power in the hands of the rich. Caesar was seen as a leader of the Populares, the group that wanted to give more to the common people. One of Caesar's biggest enemies was Cato the Younger, a strict and proud man who hated corruption and saw Caesar as a danger. Another was Cicero, the famous speaker and writer. Cicero admired Caesar's talent but did not trust his power. Even Pompey, Caesar's old friend, started to turn against him. After Crassus died in 53 BC, the bond of the triumvirate became weak. Julia, Caesar's daughter, and Pompey's wife also died. Without her, the friendship between Caesar and Pompey broke. The 2 men were now rivals. The Senate's warning. In 50 BC, the Senate ordered Caesar to give up his army and return to Rome as a private citizen. They said his time as governor was over, but Caesar knew that if he came back without his army, his enemies would try to arrest him, or worse. Caesar asked to return with protection, but the Senate said no. He had to come alone. This was a trap. and Caesar knew it. Crossing the Rubicon. In January of 49 BC, Caesar made his most famous move. He stood with his army near a small river called the Rubicon. This river marked the edge of Roman law. No general could cross it with soldiers, but Caesar looked at his men and said, "The die is cast." Then he crossed the Rubicon River with his army. This was a bold and dangerous act. It meant civil war, but Caesar was ready. He believed he had the support of the people and his soldiers. The start of a new era. By crossing the Rubicon, Caesar broke the rules of the Republic, but many Romans did not care. They were tired of the rich fighting each other. They wanted a strong leader. Caesar promised peace, food, and jobs. His political journey had started many years before, with speeches, games, and clever deals. Now he stood as a powerful man, ready to take full control of Rome. His rise in Roman politics was not by chance. It was the result of bravery, intelligence, strong friends, and the love of the people. But his biggest battles were still to come. Julius Caesar as dictator of Rome. Julius Caesar became the most powerful man in Rome after winning the civil war against Pompey. He returned to the city as a hero and a ruler. The Senate had no real power anymore. The people looked to Caesar for leadership, safety, and change. In 49 BC, the Senate made Caesar dictator for the first time. At first, it was only for a short time, just 11 days, to fix a problem with elections. But later, in 46 BC, he was made dictator again, this time for 10 years. And in 44 BC, just a few months before his death, Caesar became dictator for life. This was something very new. In the past, dictators in Rome were only given power for 6 months during big emergencies. But now, Caesar had full control. Let's look at what he did with that power and how he changed Rome forever. 1. Caesar wanted to fix Rome. When Caesar became dictator, Rome had many problems. The government was broken. The rich were very rich, and the poor were very poor. Many people had no land or work. The Senate was full of men who only cared about themselves. Roads were bad, cities were dirty, and there were too many laws that didn't work. Caesar knew that if he wanted to stay in power, he had to fix these problems. He didn't waste time. He started making big reforms, changes in laws, in society, and in the way Rome was run. 2. He changed the calendar. One of Caesar's most famous reforms was the calendar. Before Caesar, the Roman calendar was a mess. It was based on the moon, and every year had different lengths. Priests could add days when they wanted. Some years were too long, others too short. People didn't know when festivals or elections would happen. Caesar talked to Egyptian astronomers, who used a calendar based on the sun, not the moon. With their help, he created the Julian calendar in 45 BC. This calendar had 365 days in a year, 12 months, an extra day every 4 years, a leap year. This calendar was very accurate, and it was used in Europe for over 1,600 years. Even today, our modern calendar is based on Caesar's idea. July, the month, was named after him. 3. He helped poor people. Caesar knew that many poor people in Rome had no land, no jobs, and no hope. So he made changes to help them. Gave land to poor citizens and soldiers who had no homes, created jobs by building roads, temples, and public buildings, moved people to colonies, new Roman towns, in other parts of the empire. This gave many Romans a new life. It also helped stop crime and hunger in the city. 4th, he controlled the grain supply. In Rome, grain was very important. Poor people needed free or cheap grain to survive, but sometimes grain was expensive, or it did not arrive on time. This caused riots and protests. Caesar fixed the grain system. He organized storage and delivery better, cut down the number of people getting free grain from 320,000 to 150,000 to save money. Made sure that grain ships arrived on time. This helped keep peace in the city and made the grain system more fair. 5th, he reformed the Senate. The Roman Senate was once very powerful, but by Caesar's time, many senators were rich men who only helped their friends. Caesar wanted to change the Senate, but he also wanted to control it. So he increased the number of senators from 600 to 900, gave Senate seats to loyal supporters, including men from other parts of the empire like Gaul and Spain. Made the Senate more diverse, not just Roman nobles. Some people said this made the Senate weaker, but others said it gave more people a voice. 6. He gave citizenship to more people. In the past, only people born in Rome or nearby had Roman citizenship, but Caesar gave citizenship to people in other provinces, especially those who helped him during the war. This made many people happy and loyal to Caesar. It also helped the empire grow stronger, because more people felt like they were part of Rome. 7. He controlled corruption. In many parts of the Roman Empire, local governors were corrupt. They stole money, overtaxed people, and treated citizens badly. Caesar made strict rules for these governors. They could not raise taxes on their own. They had to report to Rome often. They were punished if caught stealing. This made the provinces safer and more fair for Roman citizens. 8. He improved the courts. The Roman legal system was slow and unfair. Trials took too long, and rich people could often buy their freedom. Caesar made court trials faster, reduced delays in the legal process, tried to make judges more honest. He wanted justice to be the same for both rich and poor. 9. He rebuilt cities and temples. Caesar also wanted Rome to look great again. He started many building projects, rebuilt the Forum, the center of Roman life, built new temples to honor the gods, started planning a giant library and canal system, built a new Senate house called the Curia Julia. These projects gave people jobs and made Rome more beautiful. 10. He planned a great future. Caesar had big dreams for Rome. He wanted to build a huge road through the Alps, build a new harbor in Italy, expand the empire to the east, create a new law code for the whole Roman world. But many of these plans were never finished. Why? Because Caesar was killed before he could complete them. How people felt about Caesar's rule. Many people in Rome loved Caesar. He gave them food, jobs, safety, and hope. The soldiers loved him too. They followed him in war and got land when they returned. But not everyone was happy. Some noblemen and senators feared him. They said he had too much power. They said he acted like a king, something Romans hated. In Rome, kings were a memory from long ago. The Roman Republic was built to avoid kings. So when Caesar was named dictator for life, many people became afraid. They asked, "Is Caesar becoming a king?" He even started wearing a purple robe, a color of royalty, and had a golden chair. He put his face on coins, something only kings did. Caesar's rule changed Rome forever. Even though Caesar ruled for a short time as dictator, his reforms changed Rome in many ways. The calendar we use today came from him. Many poor people had better lives because of him. Roman laws became more organized. People in other parts of the empire felt more included. The idea of one strong leader became more accepted. He showed the people that Rome could be more than just a place for the rich. He opened the doors of power to new people, new ideas, and a new kind of rule. But not everyone wanted change. Some men in the Senate believed Caesar was destroying the old republic. They began to plan something dark, his murder. This brings us to the final part of Caesar's story. Some deaths in history change the world. One of those deaths happened in Rome on March 15th, 44 BC. It was the day Julius Caesar was murdered. This day is called the Ides of March, and it was not just the death of a man. It was the death of the Roman Republic. Let's look at why Caesar was killed, how it happened, and what came after. 1. Fear of a king. Many people loved Julius Caesar. He gave land to soldiers, food to the poor, and made Rome strong again. He fixed laws, rebuilt the city, and helped people from other countries feel part of Rome. But not everyone was happy. Many senators and noblemen were afraid. They said Caesar was taking too much power. He was acting like a king. Rome had no kings for hundreds of years. Romans were proud of their republic, a system where no man had all the power. They feared that if Caesar stayed in control, he would end the republic and make himself a real king. Some signs made them more worried. Caesar wore a purple robe, the color of kings. He sat on a golden chair during public meetings. Statues were built to honor him like a god. Coins were made with his face, just like a king. The Senate named him dictator for life. Many people, especially older senators, believed Caesar would never give up power. Some even said he would make Rome a monarchy and pass his power to a son. 2. The plot against Caesar. A group of senators began to talk in secret. They believed that killing Caesar was the only way to save the republic. The leaders of this group were Marcus Junius Brutus, Gaius Cassius Longinus. Both were former supporters of Caesar. Brutus was especially important. Many people thought he was honest, brave, and noble. He even said he loved Rome more than he loved Caesar. These men believed Caesar's death would bring back freedom. They thought the people would thank them after. The plan was clear. Kill Caesar in public, where all could see. Kill him together, so no one person would take the blame. 3. Warnings before death. In the days before March 15th, many signs appeared. A fortune-teller told Caesar, "Beware the Ides of March." His wife, Calpurnia, had a terrible dream. In it, she saw Caesar's statue bleeding and people washing their hands in the blood. Strange weather and lightning hit the city. Birds flew in the wrong direction. A scroll was given to Caesar with a warning of a plot. Many people told Caesar to stay home, but Caesar was not afraid. He believed that fate was stronger than fear. He said, "What is meant to happen will happen." So on the morning of March 15th, Caesar put on his robe and left his house. The Ides of March. The Roman Senate was meeting at the theater of Pompey that day. Caesar walked in, calm and confident. Around him were men he had worked with for years, senators, friends, allies. But some of those men were part of the plot. As Caesar sat down, the senators moved close. One man, Lucius Tillius Cimber, pulled on Caesar's robe to distract him. Then, suddenly, a senator named Servilius Casca stabbed Caesar in the neck. Caesar stood up, shocked and angry. He tried to fight back, but more men attacked. Stab after stab, they hit him. Over 60 men joined the attack. Caesar was stabbed 23 times. One of the last men to stab him was Brutus. According to legend, Caesar looked at Brutus and said, "You too, Brutus." Then Caesar fell at the foot of a statue of Pompey, the man he once defeated. The great general, the ruler of Rome, was dead. 5. Silence. After the murder. Right after Caesar was killed, the killers expected the people to cheer. But something strange happened. There was no cheering, no celebration, no cries of freedom. There was silence, and then fear. People ran from the building. They were afraid a war was coming. The city was in shock. No one knew what would happen next. The killers had made one big mistake. They killed Caesar, but did not plan what to do after. 6. The people were angry. The next day, Caesar's body was shown in public. Mark Antony, Caesar's friend and general, gave a speech at the funeral. He told the people all the things Caesar had done for them. He reminded them, Caesar gave land to the poor. Caesar brought peace to Rome. Caesar loved the people Caesar left money, and land to every Roman citizen in his will. The crowd began to cry. Then they began to shout. They became angry. They did not see Caesar as a tyrant. They saw him as a hero. They burned his body in the Forum. They made a fire from wood, benches, and anything they could find. The fire burned all night. People threw flowers, weapons, and even their clothes into the flames. Then the crowd turned violent. They wanted revenge. 7. Chaos in Rome. After Caesar's death, Rome fell into chaos. The killers, called the liberators, thought they would be praised. Instead, they had to run away from the city. Many people now saw them as traitors, not heroes. Mark Antony took control for a short time, but Caesar had named a young man in his will as his heir. That man was Gaius Octavius, later known as Augustus. Octavius was just 18 years old, but he was smart, brave, and knew how to gain power. With Mark Antony and another general named Lepidus, he formed the Second Triumvirate, a group of 3 rulers. They hunted down Caesar's killers. Many were captured or killed. Brutus and Cassius both died by suicide after losing battles. 8. The end of the Republic. Caesar's death was supposed to save the Roman Republic, but it did the opposite. Soon after, Octavius took full control and became the first emperor of Rome. He took the name Augustus Caesar. The Republic was gone. In its place, a new empire was born, an empire that would last for hundreds of years. Julius Caesar did not live to see it, but his name lived on. Final thoughts. The Ides of March was a day of blood, fear, and history. Julius Caesar's murder was one of the most famous assassinations of all time. The men who killed him believed they were saving Rome. But in the end, they only made Caesar a legend and opened the door to a new kind of Rome. His life was full of power. His death was full of drama. And his name, Caesar, became a title used by emperors for centuries.